Hey everyone, this is Riven Blade with a review of AEW Dark for June 22nd, 2021. This is a nice light snack of an episode coming in at only 48 minutes, which is a big improvement after the 2 to 2.5 hour behemoths that we had gotten used to during the pandemic era. So this episode gives us a good chance to see some young up-and-coming talents like Rekka Tahaka, like Chandler Hopkins. There's a significant heel turn in this episode, and a strong performance outside and inside the ring from Pillman Jr. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, turn on notifications, and leave me some comments below. So like I mentioned, Pillman starts things off with a really strong, fiery promo. Marvez sets up the match that Griff Garrison is going to have later on against Marco Stunt, and that Pillman's going to have against Bear Bronson. Now, Pillman says this really nice line. He says that when he looks at Bear Bronson tonight, he's not going to be seeing Bear Bronson. He's going to be seeing Miro, and he's a guy who stands up for his friends. So we get some hype for the TNT title match. We get some hype for the match tonight. I really liked the intensity. I thought Pillman looked really strong. He's got good babyface fire here. So first match of the night, we got the Murder Hawk monster Lance Archer taking on Rex Lawless. Lawless doesn't even get a title screen because, well, Archer just mauls him the second he gets into the ring. He does a short arm clothesline as an ode to Jake the Snake Roberts, which commentary points out, Jake himself also being on commentary. There's a nice ode to Stan Hansen and Kenta Kobashi, which is called by Excalibur, with Lawless on the top rope, and Archer just kind of gives him a massive clothesline, eventually hitting the blackout for the 1-2-3, doesn't even wait for the ref to hold up his hand, and again, this just keeps Lance Archer relevant, keeps him winning, keeps him on the road to, well, we'll see on the road to what. Next up, we got Pillman Jr. taking on Bear Bronson. This was a very strong, fiery performance from Pillman Jr. Ricky Starks joins commentary. He calls this the Battle of the Bad Haircuts, which is pretty funny. Anyway, Pillman Jr. hits some impressive uppercuts, some forearms, a big slam, a cross body. There's a springboard clothesline that he eventually hits for the W. And before that, though, Bear Bronson, he kind of sits on the sternum. Commentary sells it like he's dead. It's pretty great. And there is that springboard clothesline for the W. At the end of the match, he gets his hand raised by Julia Hart. He does the gesture showing that he's going to have the belt around his waist, just calling out Miro. Again, really strong performance in this match from Pillman Jr. and in the first segment of the show. Next up, Chandler Hopkins versus Brian Cage. So Hopkins comes out of the gate like, a ball of fire. Gets about 20 seconds of impressive offense before Cage just kind of tosses him around a bit. But Hopkins keeps finding these kind of like sparks of life throughout the match. And anytime Cage is in trouble, Ricky Starks is laughing on commentary. Taz gets a little annoyed saying, "Damn it, Cage," anytime Cage seems like he's not doing all he can. And he's still rooting for him. So I thought that this kind of partnership between Cage and Team Taz was totally over, but this episode made it seem like they're kind of still working together a little bit. I guess with Cage holding the FTW belt, I guess they kind of have to. Anyway, there are a couple of awkward moments in this match. There's this pendulum German that, Hopkins pulls off that doesn't look that believable, with Cage just having to sit on the second rope for what seems like forever before the move is actually pulled off. Eventually, he hits Weapon X for the 1-2-3. Taz says it didn't have to be so hard, and the whole story of this match really was kind of Hopkins escaping the grip of Brian Cage. Anyway, at the end of the match, Starks just bolts to the back, and Brian Cage follows him, and there we go. That's it. Next up, interesting match, Ashley D'Amboise versus Diamanté. Diamanté, right from the get-go, comes out hot. And she is chopping her, she's kicking her in the corner, she's showing a lot of heat, a lot of fire, and we're wondering where's this coming from. She does this very impressive kind of toss, uses D'Amboise's momentum against her, throws her over her head. There's a Russian leg sweep at one point, and she wins with a nerve hold submission. I've never seen her pull this out before. I think it's a brand new submission that she's got. And in the post-match, she continues to beat on D'Amboise. Clearly a new attitude for Diamanté, a heel turn. I don't know where this is coming from, but honestly, I was just thinking about this the other day, that the AEW women's division really does need more heels. They're really short on them. So, hey, if we can get another one in there, all the better. Next up, Kit Sackett versus Colt Cabana, and Colt brings the entire Dark Order family out with him. I love that those guys are still wearing their shorts. Anyway, Kit Sackett, he gets his kind of like title placard here, making his singles debut, having previously wrestled in tags on Dark. And yeah, this match is a whole lot of nothing for him because Colt Cabana just hits 3 big elbows to his head and does the Superman pin, 1, 2, 3. Just an excuse to get Dark Order on the show and to give Colt a win here. Next up, Dan Barry versus Chuck Taylor. So I had to look up that these guys actually have history, and they have like a DVD series that's out. And I think it's called the Lieutenant and the Gentleman or something along those lines. Anyway, so they have a pretty decent match. You see Barry here with really flowery shirt. It's clear that he knows Trent as well. And he is impressive. This is kind of like a battle of the moonsaults. There are 3 moonsaults in this. One is an SI moonsault on the outside done by Barry onto Chuck. That one is successful. Next, Chuck tries one in the ring off the second rope unsuccessfully. Barry tries another one off the top rope unsuccessfully. And then Taylor eventually ends up hitting 2 pile drivers back to back, and that gives him the victory, the 1, the 2, and the 3. And of course, you got to give the people what they want. And just to follow up, the name of that shoot interview series is called An Officer and a Gentleman. So you can look that up if you want to know what these guys are about and why Excalibur was calling Dan Barry Detective Dan Barry at the start of this one. There's also one funny commentary moment in this match. Taz pops himself by saying, if Dan had Chuck's name, he'd be Chuck Barry. And nobody except Taz is laughing at their own jokes. So I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, next up, we got Ashley Vox taking on Abaddon. Abaddon looking creepy as ever. Her face makeup is always on point. Ashley Vox looking a little bit uneasy going into this one. And I really like when Justin Roberts introduces Abaddon, he says, crawling to the ring from the Black Hills, which is pretty cool. Anyway, at one point, Vox tries to kind of like, pull at Abaddon's face, but Abaddon ends up just biting her finger. And you know what? She tries attacking a couple times. It is not effective. Abaddon kind of does the no-sell, and she kind of gives her this leg hook DDT. This seems like it's a new finisher for me. It seems like it's much safer than the cemetery driver, and that gives her the victory. Abaddon continues winning, continues looking creepy, continues improving in the ring, and yeah, fine enough match. Next up, Griff Garrison versus Marco Stunt in the comedy hour segment of the show today. So Marco Stunt's got a baseball cap. Griff Garrison kind of bullies him, says, I got your hat. And yeah, I don't know. They call this the collision of the vlog squad. Everyone's, got vlogs these days. And these guys just kind of have a good time together. Marco Stunt does a series of topes to the outside. He does 3, actually. And on the third one, Griff catches him and slams him down onto the apron. And you know who's going to win this match. So eventually, Griff just hits him and nails him with the discus forearm for the 1, the 2, and the 3. So not a great match, I have to say. There were some kind of awkward moments just because of the size differential and how lanky Griff is, and Marco having to work around that created some, not exactly smooth chemistry between these guys. There were some funny moments, but I found it weird that Griff was trying to kind of play the heel, especially in the early going with the baseball hat. Anyway, fine enough match, I guess, but you don't need to go out of your way to see this. Just something for the crowd. And they're still friends, so yay, good for them. Next up, Rekka Tahaka versus the Bunny. I really like Rekka Tahaka. I hope they keep asking her back. She's got such a presence about her in that ring. Her gear is fantastic. Her tattoos look great. Her overall look, her presentation is really strong. And her moveset, she can go. Like, it seems like she can really do things in the ring. So I hope they keep asking her back. The Bunny kind of dominates this match from the get-go. She really takes it to Rekka, which gives her an excuse to look at the camera and show off her face a lot, which, is one of the best parts of Bunny matches, when she's kind of a little bit off the hinges and just kind of laughing maniacally towards the camera. Anyway, this was a decent little match. And then you got the Blade on the outside saying that, Bunny is the best in the game. She's the best in the game. Of course, he would say that about his wife, which is, cool. Rekka Tahaka, her big moment comes when she hits back-to-back headbutts. And as you can see here, she really winds up on this second one. She stands out with her offense when she does stuff like this. And when her gear is just... She looks like a star. I really like her look. Again, I'll just repeat it again and again. I really like the way she looks. I really like the way she handles herself in the ring. She has a presence with the way she moves. And eventually, you know where this is headed, though. So the Bunny hits a thrust kick, follows it up with down the rabbit hole. 1, 2, 3. Bunny wins. So a good showing from Tahaka. I'm so sorry. Tahaka there. Next up, we have the main event, Serpentico taking on Stu Grayson. I was surprised how much they gave to Serpentico in this match. So first of all, he's joined to the ring by Luther. And of course, Stu Grayson is joined to the ring by the entire Dark Order. Some of them still sporting their shorts. I'll never get over Evil Uno wearing those shorts. I think he only has one pair. He keeps wearing that same pair. He wore that pair last week as well. Anyway, Luther keeps getting involved in this one, so he starts off the match by tripping Grayson on the outside. That allows Serpentico to get a string of offense together against Grayson. There's a nice DDT, and again, Serpentico gets the majority of this match. He really is given most of the offense, most of the heat, and he's got submissions going on. You got Luther pulling on Grayson's beard on the outside at one point, and at one point, Grayson gets really annoyed, He tells Serpentico to chop him again, and you get, on the outside, Luther screaming, again, in his high-pitched voice. Honestly, Luther is quickly becoming like one of the most entertaining parts of Dark episodes. Just that high-pitched squeal, that high-pitched scream, stuff like pulling on the beard, it's all pretty funny. I really like him now. Anyway, this whole thing kind of turns around when Serpentico misses a top rope move, which leaves the opening for Grayson to hit a knee to the face. He misses his first nightfall, and Serpentico kind of tries to roll him up, but eventually Grayson gets the advantage back with a senton to the apron. He takes out Luther on the outside, gets back in the ring, hits the nightfall on Serpentico for the 1, the 2, and the 3. Grayson just looks fantastic, and if he is in the AEW console game, which of course he will be, they better make him OP. This guy's like really, really powerful, really strong, and this is one of those matches where I would say that he kind of, snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, because Serpentico was getting most of the match, and I was surprised that nobody from the Dark Order really came out to help him here. So anyway, we end things off with, Luther being the final shot of AEW Dark. Fitting, considering this guy really is becoming a star on this show. So anyway, things worth checking out on this. I mean, definitely check out the Pillman Jr. match. Check out the Pillman Jr. promo. It's the first thing you see on the episode. Check out the Diamanté match, and check out the Rekka Tahaka match. And even the main event. The main event was pretty fun as well. I got to give it to Serpentico and Luther. They've really come together as like an entertaining team. I wouldn't want them like on Dynamite per se, unless they're going to just like job out. But overall, they're just a fun, entertaining tag team. So that was AEW Dark for this week. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you like this video, if you dig what I do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and turn on those notifications. Until next time, take care and take it easy.